Welcome back to Security Explained channel. Every successful attack starts the same way. Before exploiting vulnerabilities, before stealing data, before deploying malware, attackers first need to answer a simple question: what exists? That process is called asset discovery. From an attacker's point of view, asset discovery is the act of identifying systems, services, data, and access points that can potentially be targeted. It's how attackers build a mental map of what they can reach and what might be worth attacking. This step is quiet, methodical, and often invisible to defenders, and that's why it's so dangerous. Attackers don't begin with insider knowledge. They start with uncertainty. They don't know which systems are critical. They don't know which assets are valuable. They don't know which defenses are strong. Asset discovery reduces that uncertainty. Attackers begin by observing what is exposed to them. Public-facing infrastructure is usually the first layer. Domains, subdomains, IP ranges, websites, APIs, email systems. Anything reachable from the outside becomes part of the attacker's discovery space. This process is often automated. Attackers use scanning and enumeration techniques to systematically identify reachable assets. They look for open ports, running services, response patterns, and metadata. From a defender's perspective, this traffic can look harmless, but each response reveals information. A banner reveals a software version. An error message reveals a framework. A redirect reveals an internal structure. None of these details seem dangerous on their own, but attackers assemble them into a larger picture. Once attackers identify visible assets, they expand outward. They look for relationships. If one service exists, what else might exist nearby? If this domain exists, are there related subdomains? If this application exists, what back-end systems does it rely on? Attackers assume complexity, and complexity usually exists. One of the most valuable outcomes of asset discovery is finding forgotten or unmanaged assets. Old test environments, legacy systems, temporary services that were never removed. These assets often lack monitoring, patching, and ownership. They weren't meant to be attacked, which makes them easier to exploit. Attackers don't need to compromise the most important asset directly. They just need a foothold. From there, they move laterally. Asset discovery doesn't stop at the perimeter. Once attackers gain initial access, they repeat the process internally. They enumerate internal systems, accounts, permissions, and data stores. They observe traffic patterns. They look for trust relationships. Internal asset discovery is often faster and more revealing than external discovery. Because internal systems were not designed to be hostile environments. This is why many breaches escalate quickly after initial access. Defenders often focus heavily on protecting entry points. Attackers focus just as much on what happens after entry. Another critical aspect of attacker-driven asset discovery is value inference. Attackers don't always know which assets are most valuable. They infer value from behavior: high traffic, strict access controls, frequent backups, detailed monitoring. Ironically, the way an asset is protected can signal its importance. Attackers notice which systems trigger alerts, which don't, and which are ignored. This is why inconsistent security controls are risky. They create patterns attackers can learn from. Attackers also exploit documentation leaks, configuration files, error logs, debug endpoints, and public repositories often contain references to internal assets. Even outdated documentation can reveal naming conventions, architectures, and assumptions that are still partially valid. To attackers, every detail is a clue. Asset discovery is not about finding one perfect target. It's about building options. Attackers gather enough information to choose the path of least resistance, the asset that offers the best balance of value, exposure, and effort. This is why asset discovery favors attackers. They only need one overlooked asset. Defenders need to manage all of them. The uncomfortable truth is that attackers often know your external assets better than you do. They actively enumerate them. They continuously scan. They share findings. Defenders who rely on outdated inventories are always behind. From a defensive perspective, the goal is not to hide assets completely. That's rarely possible. The goal is to reduce unnecessary exposure, eliminate forgotten assets, and detect discovery activity early. Asset discovery by attackers succeeds when defenders lack visibility. It succeeds when assets exist without owners, when systems exist without monitoring, when exposure is assumed rather than verified. Understanding attacker-driven asset discovery changes how you think about security. It shifts focus from reacting to incidents to reducing opportunities. When you understand how attackers discover assets, you start asking better questions. What can be seen from the outside? What exists internally that no one actively manages? What assumptions are we making about invisibility? Security becomes less about defending a perimeter and more about managing reality. Attackers don't need zero-day exploits to succeed. They need visibility and patience. Asset discovery gives them both.